Seed cycling is a popular treatment used in complementary medicine to help balance reproductive hormones. There are plenty of people who believe in seed cycling, but is there really evidence to support this practice? Today, I'm going to take a deep dive into this practice and break down the research supporting it. So first of all, what is seed cycling? Seed cycling uses 4 different seeds, pumpkin, flaxseed, sunflower, and sesame, at different phases of the menstrual cycle to support female hormones. So the cycle is as follows. So phase 1 starts on the first day of your period and lasts until you ovulate. So for most people, this phase will last about 2 weeks. It depends how regular your cycle is. If you're not sure when you ovulate, there's a couple things that you can do. One is actually do a urine test to check when you ovulate, which is very simple. You want to start that around like day 10 or maybe a little bit before, depending on how long your cycle is. The other thing you can do is track your basal body temperature. So you can either use a specific basal thermometer and you check it first thing in the morning. Or, your Oura ring. I have an Oura ring. It actually tracks my temperature overnight. So that actually helps me look at my body temperature and track trends to see when I may be ovulating. So those are 2 different methods you can use to check when you ovulate. The first phase, so again, time that your period starts to when you ovulate, you want to include 1 tablespoon each of ground pumpkin and ground flaxseed every day. So you want this to be fresh. So the best way to do this is to grind it every day, or you could grind, a couple tablespoons at once and keep it in the fridge because ground seeds can get rancid fairly quickly. All right, so phase 2 covers the second half of your menstrual cycle from ovulation to the day before your period. So the seeds will switch to, again, same dosage, so 1 daily tablespoon each of raw ground sunflower seeds and ground sesame seeds. Okay, so why these seeds? Why are these seeds? How do they impact your menstrual cycle? So the theory behind these 4 seeds is that each of them supports the hormonal function in the different phases of your menstrual cycle. So pumpkin and flaxseed are used to help boost estrogen production during the follicular phase, which is the first half of your menstrual cycle, where estrogen is dominant. And then the sunflower and sesame are used to promote progesterone levels during the luteal phase. So in your luteal phase, which is the second half after you ovulate, your estrogen levels drop and your progesterone levels should increase. So that's kind of the theory. And, balancing out those 2 hormones helps with cycle regularity. But, the kind of the scientific basis of using these seeds, the evidence is pretty weak. So there's one very small study that connects flaxseed to more regular cycles. In this study, which was, I'll note it's from 1993, so it's fairly outdated, 18 women, so again, a very small study, with normal cycles ate either their normal low-fiber diet for 3 cycles or a flaxseed supplemented diet for 3 cycles, and then they switched. So it was a randomized crossover study. So each group did each diet. And they basically looked at the cycle length and they looked at hormone levels throughout the 3 different cycles. And they basically compared the second and third cycle from the low fiber diet and then the second and third cycle from the flaxseed supplemented diet to see if there's a difference. So what they found is that flaxseed diet cycles had longer luteal phase lengths. So again, that kind of helps to, if you have a shortened luteal cycle, it impacts your fertility. So it makes it harder for you to get pregnant, essentially. So by lengthening the luteal phase, that helps, increase your chances of getting pregnant. Flaxseed cycles also had higher progesterone to estrogen ratios, which is what you want in the second half of your cycle. Another small study actually found that flaxseed lowered estrogen levels. So that's, again, the only other fairly important study The rest of the seeds, I honestly could not find much literature that connects those specific seeds, so pumpkin, sesame, and sunflower. I couldn't find anything that really linked them to hormonal balance. Okay, so now that you know that there's not a lot of evidence supporting this practice, should you do it? Well, there's plenty of people who believe in seed cycling. While the evidence does not make a strong case for it, there's truly no harm in trying it out, especially if you are really struggling with irregular periods or not even having a period at all. So based on some online testimonials, it does take a few months to see actual results, and dosing can be, it's not very specific. So I've seen some people do well on, 1 tablespoon each. Some people had to ramp it up to 2 tablespoons each. So it's something you kind of have to play around with and give it time to see if it actually works. But, I will say adding these seeds into your diet will at least add some fiber and some other important vitamins like vitamin E, which is great for oxidation support and protection. Okay, so if you want to try it, find ways to sprinkle the seeds onto your foods. And things that you typically eat. So anytime you're trying to introduce a new habit, it's best to kind of pair it with an already existing habit. Most people eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so I would try to add these seeds onto whatever you eat on those meals rather than trying to do something separate. It's also really hard to just eat plain ground seeds. I don't know, that doesn't sound very appealing to me. So I would, try to mix the seeds into smoothies is a great way to kind of mask them if you're not like a huge fan of seeds. You could mix it into your oatmeal or your cereal in the morning, or even yogurt. That would be a good option. I would also, consider sprinkling it on salads too. So just to recap, today we talked about seed cycling for hormonal balance. While there is not much evidence supporting the practice, it won't hurt you to try it if you are just trying to find ways to balance out your hormones and have a more regular menstrual cycle.